This video is going to be a bit of a throwback. So a couple days ago, we posted a reel of some steam bending that Rob and I did back in the old shop. Piece of 1-inch thick by 3.5-inch white oak. And John actually shot 2 videos on that. This is 5 years ago. So John took those 2 videos, combined them, and we're gonna show that to you today. It's a real blast from the past. It made me feel a little bit old. I definitely look a little bit older. So we hope you guys enjoy. Let us know down in the comments what you think about this whole process. It's really about working through issues in a job. You know, we were trying to steam bend this white oak for this project, and we failed. And it shows how we pivot and we get the job done. That's what cabinet making is all about. And furniture making, you're always going to run into issues. Most of the time, you're doing something for the very first time, and you just have to pivot. So you make the best of it, and you get the job done. You make the client happy. That's what's most important. Let me know down in the comments how I look. Have I aged gracefully in 5 years? Hope you guys enjoy. The bending form. So we're building a chaise lounge, 4 of them actually, and this will be the back section. There will be a bolster pillow here. So what we're doing is we're bending inch thick by 3.5-inch quartered white oak, and these will end up getting cut off somewhere around here. We have 2.5 degrees that these are towed in. That's to account for any spring back. So once this wood is bent, it's going to want to spring back a little bit. So hopefully at 2.5 degrees we get relatively straight arms. What this is here is a band. So when you're bending wood, and we're by no means experts, or even we're novices, I'd say. When you bend wood, you don't want it to stretch. So these blocks are 1/16 larger than the actual width of the length of the wood, rather, when this is stretched out straight. So we'll put the wood in between these blocks, and this metal will keep the wood from stretching on the outside. So it's going to compress on the inside, and it's going to stay the same length on the outside, ideally. You know, these are going to stop it from stretching. We built all this out. This is beefed up with, you know, multiple layers of plywood. And what's going to happen, these carabiners are going to hook onto these U-bolts on either side. This will be straight out, and we'll start to crank down. They cross over here and go back to this winch. So we'll be able to pull the whole thing this way, and it'll end up, hopefully, if all things go as planned, into our final shape here. Right now, the wood is in that PVC pipe there on the left-hand side. We drained the water out, so it's been soaking in there for about 2 weeks. Yeah. So what we did is we stuck a hose down into the bottom, and we hooked that hose up to a shop vac and sucked the water outside. We've got 2 pieces in this one and 3 in the other. We have 1 to experiment on. That'll be the first piece. So we'll see. We did our tests, you know, about 6 weeks ago, and they worked out. So we're hoping for the best. Once our steam setup is up to temperature, which I believe it is now, so this is just a Erlex, I believe. Right? Yeah. What is this? This is a 4-inch PVC pipe. What I did is I drilled some holes every 6 inches, and I put a little 1/4-inch dowel in there, so it made a platform on the inside. We have our steam going in here, goes over to this little Erlex steam generator. These are super cheap. You find this for like 60 or 70 bucks. With the PVC pipe, I mean, all in $100, you can have an 8-foot long steam setup. We have a little thermometer at the end. You see we're reading just over 200 degrees, so it's about as hot as it's going to get. We'll pop the end off, stick our piece in there. We're going to go 90 minutes on this. So we're going to put the piece into the steam chamber. We'll put the cap back on, and we're going to steam this one for 90 minutes. We steamed the first one for, I think, 75 minutes?
75, yeah.
And it needed just a little more steam. So we're going to go 90 minutes on this one. They say anywhere between 60 to 90 minutes per inch. We have 1-inch thick oak, so I think 90 minutes is going to be good for us this time.
This one was 10 days in the water. The test piece was 3 or 4.
Right, so.
And we broke that one.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I'll take this. So the top's the inside.
Yep. Be right behind you. I'm not gonna stick this one in. this screw goes right here on top of it.
Yeah. Well,
Are we gonna call this our second attempt or a third
Yeah.
attempt?
well, the first attempt was really just, we knew it was going to fail. This
Yeah.
is our second real attempt.
So for second real attempt, I'd say it went pretty well. Got a tiny gap here,
Yeah.
tiny gap here. I think the grain wanted to split a touch here. This piece has a bunch of knots in it, and we this is just a sample piece. We kind of knew that it was gonna
Yeah, you can kind
fail to some degree. Had a little breakage on our block here, but for a trial run, pretty good.
So you're going to replace that block with some hardwood?
Yeah, we'll move these. The problem is these bolts are too close to the end. As you can see here,
It weakened the plywood.
yeah, it weakened the plywood, so we'll probably move these up, cut it, and add a piece of hardwood there.
This strapping, I see a weld right here. Did you have to have that done?
Yeah, so our buddy Manny welded these up for us. They only sell these in 6-foot lengths. These are 9 feet long, so we have staggered seams. So you have one seam here, and then on the other side you have 2 seams.
And what kind of strapping is this?
They call this punched flat bar. It's just 1/16 thick zinc coated steel. Seems to be a pretty common.
Like you hang garage door track from it. You ever see it?
Sure. You get this right from the home store?
Yeah.
Yeah, this came from Home Depot.
So what happens after this comes out of the clamp and you actually start building the chair?
Well, what we're going to do is determine where these arms are going to be cut off. And some of that will be based on a drawing. Some of that will be a little bit of, setting in it and trial and error as far as marking. We'll determine how long the arms are, cut it. We'll joint this probably, get the edges nice and straight. Run it past the table saw so that we have the same width. And we'll take it one step at a time. We're going to cut in some joinery for the parts, I guess we'll call them the arm supports. And it's really a pretty simple structure, once this piece is bent. It's just a chaise that's shaped like this, so you have a platform and you have 2 arm supports and 1 in the back. And just tying it all together, we'll take a look at it. We'll try and mix some function with an artistic aesthetic, and we'll document it, and you'll see what happens, as we do too.
So in the video right now, we have that piece bent in the big fixture, and it was pretty scary standing on the end of that winch and cranking that and waiting for everything to just sort of explode. And I think Rob, he had some pretty big balls to jump up on the table, and you see he has to lift it up at that one point. Watching the video was a lot of fun. I can't wait to send it to Rob. But it turns out that bend failed. You'll see in a little bit, we show a picture, the corners actually blew out. So kiln dried wood, you really can't bend it as much as we were trying to achieve. The soaking didn't get it to the point where it could bend that much. So we're gonna show you how we pivoted and what we did to make the job work. We're also nearing the end of the chaise lounges. You guys saw us attempting to steam bend these crest rails. We did run into some issues with that, with kiln dried wood. The lignin in the wood is actually set, and there's only so much bend that you can get. So we had blowout here in these corners. So what we ended up doing is gluing up a 3-piece block, and we went back to a tried and true method, which is cutting it on the bandsaw and then flush trimming with a template. You may notice that there is a lot of short grain here in this joint, or in this radius of this corner. All these are very short runs of grain. So what we actually did, I made a little jig here. This sat, before this piece was attached, sat here. I was able to drill 3 holes, and there's a 1/4-inch dowel, a 3-inch long 1/4-inch dowel, 3 of them in the corner here, keeping all this short grain together.
Nice. Is this going to be the finished height of this?
Yeah, so this is sitting on a 1-inch solid oak base. So it'll be really low slung, and they're gonna have a super fat cushion. you know, maybe about 8 or 10 inches high.
Very modern. What's the finish going to be?
This will be tongue oil. We have several coats here. We just scuffed this before the final coat, and we'll be coating the solid stock as well.
Some really beautiful flecking in this white oak here.
Yeah, really interesting grain here in the end grain. The rays seem to radiate out of the corners.
Yeah, look at that right there. That's beautiful. And this joint here is a...
These are dominoes. It's a 10 by 50.
floating domino.
Yep.
Nice. So you have a something that we can see how you made this.
Yeah. So I glued up a piece of cherry, and we have the same template, so we'll be able to rough it out on the bandsaw and then bring it over to the shaper and show you how we made these pieces. So this is the blank that I glued up. This is some 8-quarter cherry. Obviously we're using quartered white oak on the chaise lounges, so this is just a representation. So our radius is gonna fit inside of here. This is the first template that we used when we made those. So we have an inside template and an outside template. This is the inside. So in order to rough this out on the bandsaw, I'll put it in here. And I'll trace the line. I can remove this on the bandsaw. Now that we have this piece rough cut, we need to attach it to our jig. So the corners here are going to end up getting cut off when we shape the outside. So have a couple screw holes under here, and we can, safely attach this that way.
You want to give Montana a shout out?
Yeah, so this is Montana brand tools 4-in-1 driver.
Made in America, right?
Yep, made right in Montana. I've been using the Brad Point bits a lot as well, and they're really nice. So now this is safely attached. We have stops on either end and a positive stop on the back, so this isn't going to go anywhere. You always want your shaper jigs to be big and heavy because this bit is spinning very fast and it's extremely strong. It's a 5 horsepower machine. This is the Oliver model 4705. It's a single phase 5 horsepower shaper. Has forward and reverse, which is nice because we do have bits that, for this one for example, that you can flip over and run in reverse.
You want to talk a little bit about this bit?
Yeah, this is a Mana. It's a 12 cutter spiral bit. So you can use this with a fence as a joining bit. You set your fences offset. Here we're running it with a bearing. So now it's a bottom bearing flush trim. You can run it as a top bearing, and this bit you can turn over and run it in reverse. Right now we want to run it forward, which is a counterclockwise rotation. On a shaper jig, when you're doing anything curved and anything with a flush trim kind of setup like this, it's important to have lead-ins. So you see here I have a good amount of template before I get to the work. That way I'm going to be able to come up, touch the bearing, and lead into that cut. If you touch like this is going to want to throw this back. When you're dealing with an outside, you might want to actually come in, instead of coming in this way, you might want to come in from this side. So that's where the forward and reverse comes into play. You can actually flip this over and cut in the right direction so you don't get tear out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it on. It's spinning counterclockwise. I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to make the cut. Coming all the way back to this, I guess you call it a lead out on this side. So you see, it makes a nice smooth cut. It's nice to have those, helical cutters or spiral cutters. Sometimes you have to go back for a second pass. It's a little heavy here. Sometimes you lose contact with the bearing, so I tend to do a second cleanup pass. But even here where this grain runs out, you see it left a really nice edge. It is a good idea to have a block here to keep that from wanting to blow out, but nice smooth end grain. So now this will be ready to route the outside curve. The steam bending didn't go as planned, unfortunately. We had hoped to do it that way, but pretty happy with the results. Still gives this nice look and actually really brings some interesting grain into the project. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll be able to see the finished product when they're installed. These are going on the spa level of a new multi-unit building up in North Bergen, New Jersey. So we'll get some finish on them, and they'll be sent out to the upholsterers and then get delivered to the new building. So that was the finished product. They turned out great, even though they weren't exactly the way we wanted it to be. And we learned a lot about steam bending. I think now we could steam bend some stuff, and we would know how to do it. We would know what we can and what we can't get away with, and we worked through the problem and got the job done. So that old shop was 800 square feet. You could see we had 3 jobs going in there at one time. We had this big cherry armoire that we built to look like an antique. It had a instant hot water system in there, a Mealy coffee station, and we had this big walnut sort of geometric wall unit in there at the same time. We used to pump a lot of work out of that small shop. It was real nostalgic watching the video. Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let us know in the comments if there's a job that you've worked through that went totally sideways and you were able to rebound and get it done. But if not, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.